Did you know that 95% of diet fail within 2 to 5 years? And most people regain more weight than they initially lost. Today, we are going to unpack why this happens and explore evidence based alternatives that actually lead to sustainable health improvements. Welcome back to Journey Beyond the Scale. I'm your host, Smiling Dr. Joice, and I'm glad you are here. In this space, we get real, about breaking free from diet culture and finding freedom in healthier, more joyful life. Today, I want to dive deep into why diets don't work and what actually does. We'll talk about the science behind it, the cultural pressures, and the healthier, more sustainable approaches I have learned along the way. And this is the diet trap. What research actually says and the biology of diet. Weight regain and metabolic pushback studies show that while many diets produce short term weight loss, most people regain the weight and often more within a few years. When I go on a diet, with all these fat diets, I will lose the weight. But when I stop the diet, I will regain it and, back almost twice what I have lost. So there was a study done by Dr. Robert Schmerling in the Harvard Health University. And the studies find that long-term follow-up studies of 83 dieters regain more weight than they lost. Why our bodies fight against weight loss? When you drastically reduce calorie, your body reacts. It slows metabolism, increases hunger hormone, and fight to restore what it considers normal. In other words, many diets trigger psychological survival mode. When you lose weight or when you're trying to lose weight, your brain is very powerful. Your brain will fight to bring you back to where you were before. And that's what we call survival mode. Let's talk about the cultural aspects of food and weight loss. So cultural influence on diet. In many cultures, food is more than just nourishment. It's part of identity and social life. For instance, like in Southern US culture, gathering often revolve around rich, healthy meals, which can pose challenges on weight management. And globally, a global perspective of diet, looking at it globally, countries like Japan have lower obesity rates. Why? Due to the cultural emphasis on portion control and a diet rich in vegetables and fish. But in many other cultures, particularly among women, dieting is not just about weight. It's about moral approval, social acceptance, beauty norms. Skipping a diet can feel like failure, not self-care. Sometimes we skip meals, when we're dieting, and we feel like skipping the meals is gonna help us with weight loss. But you're losing a lot of, you're losing to take in some of the macro and the micronutrients. The other thing too that, it's about, talking about the fat diet, the diet industry. The dieting industry is massive. It profits from our dissatisfaction and repeated attempts. Very few plans teaching long-term sustainability. And, fat diets, promise rapid weight loss or cut out food, especially food groups that especially, help us, it triggers us and it helps us and it puts us to the path of failure. They often lack robust scientific support. They also often ignore cultural food patterns, social traditions, and personal preferences. What actually works when we go beyond dieting? If diets don't lead to lasting change, then what does? Over time, I discovered a set of principles and practices that felt more humane, realistic, and sustaining. Here are what I consider the core pillars. Let's talk about sustainability over restriction. You have to focus on small, consistent habits you can maintain over months and years, not all or nothing. So those consistent habits that you develop, find something that is going to help you over months and years. Choose food you adore, not ones you dread. I adore rice. I love rice. Rice is one of my best food, rice and stew. So when I sit down to eat rice, I enjoy it. And that's why you need to find the food that you really enjoy and adore. And, enjoy it to stay within your diet limit. There was a Harvard analysis of 100 trials, and it supports diet that, are more sustainable. And they include foods that you like. You have to be flexible. Life changes, appetite changes, cultural demand changes. A sustainable approach bends. It doesn't break. Also, you have to be intuitive and have a mindful eating habit. You have to listen to your body's signals like hunger, fullness, satisfaction. Over time, you learn to trust what feels good. Honor your cravings while staying anchored in nourishment. Even though, rice has starch, it's a lot of carbohydrate, I honor my craving. I will eat my rice. And sometimes you might feel like you want to eat, a scoop of ice cream. Honor those cravings, but eat smaller quantities. Because if you deny yourself entirely from, it's going to backfire. And when you're eating, slow down. Enjoy your food. Cultivate awareness of taste, texture, and social rituals of eating. They say when you eat your food slowly and, looking at the food, admiring the food, you eat less. Another aspect, let's address mindset and identity. Most diets treat weight as the main goal. But what if we start with values, health, freedom, joy? What if we start with those? It changes the narrative. You tell yourself, I am worthy now. I deserve rest and nourishment. And celebrate progress in non-numeric ways like energy, mood, relationship. Even with dieting, we say, people look at us and say, oh, you're on a diet. Why are you eating this? There's always going to be judgment surrounding you telling people that you are on a diet, and it restricts you. But I want to tell you this. If you celebrate in non-numerical ways, like you discover that today I have more energy, my mood is good, I have better relationships. Rather than chasing scale movements, regular movement is key, not punishment. Move your body, go outside and walk, go up and down the stairs. Hey, dance in the kitchen, dance in your bedroom. Celebrate your body and tell your body that you can do it. And in so doing, you combine strength, mobility, joy movement, and restorative rest. Avoid extreme burnout And recover matters as you do all this activity. You also have to build support and structure that aligns to your environment. Stock your kitchen with food that support your well-being and not the ones that tempt you. Yeah, I know sometimes it's difficult. Even, honestly, if you go to my pantry or, you will see some food that, yes, I'm not supposed to have it. But those are food that sometimes you honor your cravings with it because you don't want to put yourself or your body in a depressive state because you are going to go down the drain and you might fall back and go back to the old ways. Surround yourself with people who uplift you and who uplift your journey. I used to hide in the house. I will hide in the house, especially in my room, because I don't want people to judge me. I hardly go places. Going places like, movie theater or in the, let's say in the park was somewhat very difficult because you feel like all eyes on me and you're being judged. I mean, even nowadays, when you see obese or, bigger people or bigger people in the gym, you see people taking pictures of them. Where do you want them to be? In the gym, of course. But people judge you even when you're trying to better yourself. So you have to surround yourself with people who uplift you and encourage you in your journey, not people who constantly enforce diet and cultural norms. Use structures that support you, not constrain you or imprison you. And also, let's look at this in the cultural lens. Food, community, and identity. This portion is especially important in many cultural contexts. Family pressure, communal meals, food tradition. Here's how to navigate things like that. Recognize that in many cultures, food is love and identity. Declining or altering traditional dishes can feel like rejecting your heritage. So instead of abstaining from ways to incorporate or adapt, recipes, you enjoy it. Don't restrain from it. Don't, like I did, if I knew what I know now, I would have exposed myself. But over time, I learned. I learned to adapt. I learned to go out, learn from other people, and go about my business. We have to use conversations and be intentional. Let people know that you are nourishing yourself rather than dieting. And sometimes that opens understanding. Perhaps the feast is also about relationship, laughter, dance, and not just food. You have to recognize how body size is judged differently across cultures. This shapes how dieting is presented or accepted in our community. A little bit about my story when I tried diets and what happened to me when I tried diet. I remember trying the latest fad diet, cabbage soup for lunch. And with cabbage soup, you make, you boil the cabbage, spice it up, make it tasty. And you might put just a little bit of protein, but not much. And you eat that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What a torment. How I tormented my body. Looking back into that, or in those days, I look at myself now, I said, that was real punishment. I counted calories. I weighed portions. I avoided social events where there are plenty of food. All while my mind felt sharp, but my spirit deflated. For sure, I lost a few pounds for the few weeks that I was on that diet, the cabbage soup diet. But within months, after I stopped the cabbage soup diet, I gained the weight back twice. That's when I started asking myself, is this another way or are there other ways? And slowly I began experimenting with mindful eating, more compassion to myself, and an inner redefinition of success. Because I'll punish myself, eat cabbage soup for like 3, 4, 5 days with no variety. And that, you're gonna be bored. You have to have variety in the food that you eat so you can derive satisfaction from those food. And over time, I saw that the body I was caring for was more responsive to kindness rather than to harsh control. Here are some takeaways for you and some takeaways that I adapted. What's one sustainable habit you could begin this week? Not depriving yourself, just improvement, right? How can you start observing non-numerical signals of health, like non-scale victories? Is it energy? Is it mood? Is it, did I sleep good? Am I gaining more strength? Those are some of the non-numerical things you could, accomplish and realize. And know that diets don't work. Research have shown that. Enjoy variety of meals. Sit down with your meals. Look at your food and say, ooh, this food looks good. I'm going to devour it. I'm going to enjoy this food. Just like I enjoy eating my rice and stew. So don't deprive yourself. Don't talk yourself out of, giving into some cravings. Don't deprive your body. Make sure you're eating all the nutrients your body deserves. And that's why we talk of variety. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Journey Beyond the Scale. If you resonated with this, please share this episode with someone who needs the reminder. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Journey BTS and follow us on Instagram at Golden Hands Weight Loss so you don't miss any future episode. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and download. Okay? And next time we will dive into setbacks and how they are not failures. They are part of the journey. Until then, be kind to yourself. You are more than a number. Bye.
This podcast shares my personal experiences and insights for educational purposes only. It is not medical advice, and it should not replace guidance from your healthcare provider or qualified professional.
Bye.
Journey beyond the scale, I find my way.